I think our group is way more mature and more prepared to handle a situation like this. I really hate that we didn't play to open up. We were really pumped about that game, Arkansas at home. But, in COVID, the pandemic era, you have to be prepared to pivot. And I think our team will do that.
David, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I know a lot of coaches feel like, when you're playing red hot like y'all were, that you want to keep that momentum rolling. And having lost these two games, what is your concern that, there's kind of been a D tackle fall down with a cramp late in the game?
Yeah, well, the reality is that you do want to keep going, but that's not the case. And we're not the only team that had that situation. I was talking to one of my friends on the men's side, and they had a pause last year. And when they came back from the pause, they won 12 games in a row. So we're not going to use it as an excuse. As far as we're concerned, we're on a 12-game win streak. We want to keep that going. We want to win another game. We want to go 1-0 in Florida, and we're going to make sure that we do our best to do that. I'm not going to allow that to be an excuse when everyone has the same situation. The concern would be just getting in game mode, but I think I've done a better job of preparing that, but making sure our players get up and down. And I think what's going to help us, David, is I do play 10, maybe 11 players a game. I don't plan on changing that in SEC play.
Will you have a full roster available to you this week?
Yeah, we'll have everybody back. And the way it went for us, hopefully we feel pretty confident that we shouldn't have any more pauses. It did what it needed to do with us on the first bout. So hopefully we don't have any more pauses if the science is correct.
Finally, I wanted to ask you this: how did it affect practice time?
Well, we didn't get our players back, so we would have played that Thursday. And what kind of messed us up is our kids were home, so we didn't even get everybody back until like Saturday. And then you have to progress them. It's 25, 50, 75%. So it's not like we were on this vacation, we were able to get a bunch of practices in. But because I've experienced this before, like last year, we were able to ramp them up and focus on things that we need to focus on each day. And I thought we did a better job as a staff with that. Now, last year, when we did have a chance to play, we were missing players. Now we're not missing any players. So, and we really shouldn't moving forward. So not for COVID. So looking forward to that.
Was your program 100% vaxxed?
Yes. Yep.
Thank you.
Nick, go ahead.
Kind of going off of that with the practice time, I know that sometimes there's some lingering effects of getting back conditioning wise after COVID. How are your players kind of reacting and responding to those?
I think it was a little different this year. The reason why I thought it was a bit different was because COVID affected us differently. So like some symptoms were mild, like a cold. And then there were few that had never had COVID that it kind of took them out for a couple of days. But I think because we were vaccinated, it did not linger like it did when I had COVID the first time. So that first time, it took me out for at least 9 days, it was different this time. So, and I remember not being able to recover for like 3 months as far as like my health and stuff like that. But this has been a different experience for us. So I think it's unique for everybody. But that the new variant, it's contracted easily, and it damn near wiped us all out.
Michael, go ahead.
Hey, yo, how are you?
Good.
We just talked to Kermit a little bit earlier, and he seemed pretty optimistic that the season and that there's been some kind of bumps in the road so far, but that this is going to kind of make it to the finish line. He did say he was a little bit worried about like rescheduled games and whatnot. Where do you kind of stand on your optimism in terms of this season kind of finishing up?
Yeah, same. I'm worried. Like, I really want to get the 2 games we're missing. I would like to get them back, because at the end of the day, unless the NCAA pivots, which they probably will with all the cancellations, you have to have a certain amount of games. And like I told our players, we may play Florida or may not, but I know we're going to play somebody. I don't care who's available. We're going to go because we need to get a game in. So that kind of sucks. But I'm optimistic that we get through the season because we got through it last year and it was way worse. So I'm pretty sure everyone's going to be playing in March, whether it's in a bubble or whether it's regular. But I can tell you this, with the vaccines and the boosters, it has made a difference in how the body responds for a lot of us. And so hopefully that remains the same. And I also think that players, Michael, I think people are playing with COVID. Not everyone's testing. I think people are playing with it. If the science is correct, when you get it, when you test positive, you probably had it a couple days before. If that's the case, then we probably played with it, So, I don't know for sure the facts and how that works, but I do know that one, it's still serious, and we're taking it seriously, but people are playing with it and getting through it, and we'll have March Madness.
Just a quick follow-up. Is there worry that, that how contagious this thing is, that your players have been around it during games? Like, how do you as a coach sort of handle the fact that it's probably happening?
I mean, that's just what it is. Like, it is probably happening. There are people that are asymptomatic. We had some people that had absolutely no symptoms in our program. It is what it is. Hopefully we can look back and see that this thing is almost like a cold for a lot of people, or some people a flu. I don't think we're there yet. So we're going to lean on the side of caution. Once we had a couple of cases happen, immediately I asked my players to go get tested, and they were home. Just because, if that was going to be, if it was what everybody's saying it is, I knew it spread, So usually if you have 1 or 2 cases, 5 or 6 are lurking with this new variant. With this new variant, 5 or 6 or more are lurking somewhere around there.
David, go ahead.
Coach, just pivoting away from the COVID stuff, what about Florida? What kind of challenges do you foresee them presenting?
Well, they played a game already. And so that makes a difference. We still have a lot of people that hadn't played an SEC game. I think the SEC is so strong this year because teams are filled with super seniors. I don't have that luxury. I have Mimi, and that's it. And Monk. Everybody else, we're true to our age. So we have pieces that are very important. Monk and Angel, that hadn't played in the SEC, and so they'll need that experience. I'm going to lean on our returners a lot to start the games. Florida is aggressive, the experience, they're well balanced. I just think, and they want to shoot the 3 or they want to get to the basket. So we're going to have to do a good job protecting both. And I just think, every game in the SEC is a fight. You just saw Missouri take down the number 1 team in the country after that number 1 team beat 5 teams in the top 10. This SEC is something else. So, we're going to go down there and be prepared for a fight. That's the only way I can explain it.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.